Hello, everyone. My name is Kisha Hugh-Abban, and I am a Jamaican-American from New York City, the Bronx specifically, and I am living and working as an international school counselor in Tianjin, China. Currently, I'm working at the International School of Tianjin, where I wear many hats. I serve as the school counselor, the deputy principal, and last but not least, the Child Protection Safety School Officer. So how I got started working in the international school system was I just recently graduated with a master's in guidance and counseling. I was already teaching history at a Christian school in Manhattan, and I was trying to break into the Department of Education in New York City for a counseling position. And at that particular time, there was a hiring freeze and there were no positions available. I'm a member of the American School Counselor Association, and they have this listserv, and I noticed on the listserv that there were job opportunities. There was a tab for international schools, and I was like, well, let me see what this is about. And I noticed that there was a position at an international school in Guangzhou, China. So not that I was interested in going to China per se, but I said, let me look at this opportunity and see what it entails. And so I looked at the benefits, I looked at what the job description, what they required, and then I reached out to the counselor who would eventually become my co-counselor and just asked her a lot of questions. I asked her a million questions and she was gracious to answer all of them. And so I decided, what the heck, at this particular stage in my life, I felt like, well, maybe I could do something different. And so I applied for the job and I got it. And, it was really surprising to me, but that was how I started on my journey into becoming an international school counselor. And that was back in August 2014. I think the education sector, especially concerning international education, could be more inclusive if they were more intent in what it is that they wanted to do in terms of hiring. The gaps that I see from 2014 to 2022, I still see that there are not a lot of BIPOC educators. There are not a lot of BIPOC people in administration roles. When I do see, let's just say, talking about Black women, they're the majority of the people that I do see or interact with, whether it is in different schools, conferences, or things of that nature. It's always us. Very rarely do you see a brother, you see a man. But in the roles of administration, no, I've never. I think I've only seen at one school that I was working at in Nigeria, we had one high school principal who was a Black male. But in other, I think if they were more intent in the hiring practice, going out and recruiting, specifically in areas where there are tons of qualified, amazing educators, encouraging heads of schools to go out to these different diverse areas. A lot of times they feel comfortable and they may want to just go to the same areas or pick from a particular country, a certain applicant pool. And it does not allow for a diverse educational experience. So you get all of the students who are at our international schools who are getting one perspective based on all of the teachers that are in those positions, the principals who are in those positions, and the heads of schools who are in those positions. Every school that I've been at, I have been the lone Black person. Nigeria was a bit different because it was a bit more diverse, but still, the hiring, you may think in an African country that there would be a lot of expat Black educators, but that's not always the case. And so I think if they were really, really intent in their hiring practices and what they wanted to see in terms of an international education and what they wanted to represent to the students, the school community, and just as a whole. The best advice that I would give someone who is thinking about starting an international business overseas or who is working overseas and thinking about starting a business is to make sure that you know everything that you can about your host country. If you are back in the States, Canada, or wherever it is that you live, and you have not been to the country, definitely go and spend some time, whether it is out of the year, maybe you go 3 or 4 times in a month for a couple of weeks. Do that. Go and see, be there during the different seasons. If your country, let's just say you decided to go to Ghana, what is it like in the rainy season in Ghana? What is it like in the dry season? What is the infrastructure like? Because depending on what it is that you are going to be doing, if you're providing a service or a product, you want to be able to know that, is the internet going to be good? If there is a pandemic like now, can my products be out in the mail? FedEx, DHL, snail mail, whatever it may be. So I would recommend most definitely understanding where you are, the infrastructure, and how things work. Talk to other local business people in the area and competitors who are also expats to find out, befriend them and find out what is some of the challenges that they go through, and try to figure out how you're going to maneuver around them. I think that's probably the greatest thing that anybody could do. And that's the first piece of advice that I always give. Make sure that you know where you're going, because things will not function. It will not run like it does in the United States. If you have a clear picture of everything that you need to know and you've experienced it yourself, then your business will definitely take off.